Hi everyone, welcome back to another CCUK Resin Q&A Live. And I'm really excited for tonight. First of all, we've gone live on time, unlike last week, so that's always a bonus. And we've got the amazing Des, or Dezy, you may know her as, from Dezy Jewelry with us tonight, all the way from the States. So you know the drill. Any questions, put them in caps lock, but let's say hello to Dezy. Hello.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be on. Thanks, Andy, for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. This is your live now, so it's all about you, all about your channel. But I did a bit of research before the show. I always do. That's what I do on my lunch at work, as I do research.
Oh, nice.
On who's coming on. And I think you've got 467 videos in total. But you've got nearly 21,000 subs now, which is amazing, and over 1.2 million views.
Oh, crazy. That's crazy. I didn't know that part, but that's crazy.
Yeah, nobody ever looks at that, and that's why that's the first thing I look at. And am I right in thinking that most of your channel is based on the jewelry that you make and you sell?
Yes, mainly make. I don't like the selling part, so I really like to teach and make and stuff. So yes. Yeah.
Good. Well, what got you into it? What got you into resin?
Well, I was into just beaded jewelry, and my mother-in-law got me in on the jewelry. And one day I was walking through a store and they had this resin kit on sale. And I was like, I've always wanted to try. And so that was the start. A good old sale got me hooked on resin.
So what did you start off with? What was in that kit?
Earrings. It was earrings.
Okay.
And I was quite delighted that they turned out semi-good, or I might have just scrapped the whole thing. And so I even did a video on it, professional jewelry maker tries resin, just, lame clickbait thing. And it was actually pretty fun, and it got me going even further than just that kit.
Well, I've noticed two of your best videos, actually, I had a look at. So one of them's the easy sliding knot necklace, I think, with 81,000 views, which I was like, wow, that is amazing. And then the other one was how to make these resin earrings, which were like those ones with the gold flakes in the bottom. And that's had 68,000 views.
Yeah. So I will confess to you that I heard a YouTuber say, go look at other people's that are doing similar to you, right? Go look at other jewelry makers, other people's, and see what their best video is, and see if you would like to do that, or what did they miss that that you would like to see. And so this one lady did the knot, the adjustable necklace, and she had 1 million views. And I was like, and so I watched it. And I had to watch it like 10 times because I just couldn't understand exactly what she was saying. And it took me so many trials. And I thought, if I can explain this, right? Not bad, but just in the way I teach.
Your way.
Easy, right? I like easy teaching. Then maybe I can get more, not more views, but maybe I can get some good views. And that's exactly what happened, is that.
But you know what? That's what all these YouTube gurus say. See what the popular videos are, make them your own, and you should get views. So it clearly works.
Yes. I sometimes feel bad because you don't want to copy somebody, but you want, if people are looking for it, you're like, can I do that? Or can I make it where it'd be like my own style kind of thing? So
yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're not copying. You're being inspired by them, is the way that I look at it. And do you know what? Part of the reason I do my videos is to inspire people. If somebody tags me in a video and says, look, I saw this on Andy's channel, I loved it, and this is what I've done with it. Job done. It makes me happy. And I think that's the thing. We're not copying, we're sharing the knowledge. That's the beauty of it.
True.
Amy's just popped a question up in chat. Is your full name Desiree? And do you pronounce your channel as Dezy, as in Desiree?
So I will tell you, my parents went rogue, and my dad wanted to name me Des, but my mom thought it was too plain, and so they came up with Des Annette. So my real name is Des Annette, and no, I never have anybody call me that. So I go with Des, and then my channel is Dezy Jewelry.
Okay, I thought it was like Dezy, as in easy jewelry. You see,
Dezy easy.
Yeah,
that could go.
Instead of easy peasy, it's easy Dezy. That's your next tagline.
In the States, states that might go a bit wrong, if you know that might take a place you don't want to go. So thanks, Amy. My parents, I didn't have any say in it. So Desinette is my real name.
So what made you want to go from, I suppose, making the resin jewelry to making the YouTube videos?
Well, I was already doing YouTube videos. So I did YouTube videos with beaded jewelry. Okay. And I showed everything I knew, right? Like I went all out, showed everything I knew, different ways of doing the same thing at times. And so I always look for the next thing. And so when I got this kit, I found a kit at a store that was on sale. I always want to do resin. And so I took it home. I'm like, this will be fun for my audience to see me fail. Cause I actually, I love doing failing videos in front of my audience. Cause one, you get a good laugh. Two, they tell me what I did wrong, right? So you get that interaction of, hey, you could do this better. Like, yes, thank you. And then it's just a good time with my community. And so I was looking forward to messing up, and it turned out all right. And so I just kept going. And so then it just turned into, what more could I do for resin on tutorials and stuff? How can I get better at this?
Yeah. Well, everyone in chat is saying they love your energy, by the way. So I know you can't see the comments, but they're saying they love your energy. They love your name. Lula's saying that you have very happy eyes, which is nice. But yeah, do you know what? You remind me that there's a creator in the UK called Claire from Claire's Crafty Corner. Okay. And her energy is the same. It's like boom, and it's there, which is amazing. And I think you're sort of an American version of that, where the energy is straight there on camera. But you're the same in your videos. I've watched a few of them, and I think that's probably why you've grown quite well, because it's different to probably 80% of the videos out there. They don't have that same fire or energy or passion for it.
Yeah. I have to admit, I've always had this energy. My parents always said I had too much energy. You know, people always said I had too much energy. I talk too fast. I try to slow down. It doesn't work. So it just translated really well onto video. And I've watched other people video, like other jewelers, you know, trying to see what they do or techniques. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please get happy, or please say something like that's nice or joyful. And it's like, and here we are today. Put a bead on, you know, I was like, no. And so I do love bringing what I am naturally, you know, what is just natural to me onto camera and stuff.
I think, do you know what? If you're putting it on camera as well, and let's be honest, in real life, we all have bad days. Mental health is a real thing, and people have ups and downs.
Yeah.
But before you hit that record, just hype yourself up a little bit. It's like today, even before this live, and the audience won't know this, but I've had a bit of a rough week in real life this week. And again, not going to go into too many details, but I thought, you know what? I don't want it to affect this live. So I just thought, play a few good tunes that I like, bit of dance music usually, get myself in the mood, get hyped up, and then the energy's back, you know, and I think that's what people want to see. And it's like you said, my sort of blunder videos are some of my favorites, where I make a mistake and I'm like, oh, shouldn't have done that. But it's great to actually see that people that do YouTube are human, you know, we make mistakes.
Yes. And I used to try to be perfect, right? I used to try, like, I would record it like another time. And finally, God's like, Des, people want real, right? Like, I have conversations with God. He wants real. And so I just started to be like, okay, I'm going to not re-record. I'm going to leave that in, or you know what I'm saying? And so then when I started to, you know, like, you try so hard behind the scenes to get it just right. So when you record it, like, you know what you're talking about. And I thought, why not try things for the first time in front of people? Like, why not? Like, bring them along with you. And it's actually been some of my best videos, and my funniest, and the most fun I had interacting with, you know, people in their comments, like, you know, and it makes people go, I can do it too. And that's my biggest thing. Like, as a teacher, I want people to know they can do it too, and make it as simple as possible. And so if they see mistakes, then they feel, hey, like, if I make mistakes, that's okay. Like, it's not a.
And some of your mistakes turn out to be your favorite pieces as well. It's like, you can be trying some, I don't know, a bloom technique or something like that. It could go wrong, but still turn out gorgeous. And you think, wow, actually, this could be a new technique.
Right? Especially with epoxy, because epoxy, you never know what you're going to get. Like, it's just like, you have 24 hours to wonder.
I'm so worried at the minute. I'm doing a big project. So I'm doing a whole solar system. is what I'm trying to do
Oh
in a
my
piece
word.
literally this size. Now, I've done like galaxy pieces before in like a bowl, but I've always done the galaxy in the center. So it doesn't matter if it pulls in. Now, this piece is literally, it's one of the, it's like a mini table mold. And it's that sort of size. Now, I want a galaxy there and there, but it could all pull into the center and create something completely different before I put the planets in. So, and it's like you say, you don't know what the resin's going to do. And if it goes wrong, I've estimated I'll be wasting about 1.5 liters of resin.
Oh my gosh. And that's the worst part about epoxy is you have to wait 24 hours or 36. You know what? I mean, the bigger pieces harden quicker, right?
Yeah.
The cure, but you have to wait, and you don't know when you demold it or you're, like you don't know if it turned out okay. And it's like it's like you think about the whole time until you demold that sucker.
And that's the thing. But that is the great thing, I think if you do resin, every time you demold, it's like Christmas morning. You don't know what you're going to get. And again, when I get to the demold part of my videos, hopefully people will agree. I'm genuinely excited because I don't know what I'm going to have. And it's like, wow, it's going to work or it's not going to work. And then occasionally I'll demold and I'll be like, okay, it didn't work, guys. We're going to have to do this again.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons I like UV resin is that I can be more in control. Like there's certain things that if I want to stay where it is, like I can do UV resin. And I love the beauty that I can do epoxy and UV resin together in some pieces because I can make I can use the UV resin for things to stay where I want it. And then the epoxy, have other magical things happen or whatever.
I'm only just getting back into UV resin. And I'll tell you why. I had a bad experience at the start. So the reason why I was using those cheap nail lights from Temu. And I think that was my biggest problem. I was getting it not curing properly. And even when I was water curing, and then I was mixing it too opaque, so it didn't cure all the way through. Left a piece on my windowsill and then UV resin everywhere. But I've learned a lot of lessons from that. And now I've upgraded my lamp. I get probably less than half the problems. So I'm actually really starting to enjoy it again now. And I've just, before this live, actually, one of the things, I won't go into too much detail because it's not about this piece, but I've made some rings for Saturn to go around Saturn in this universe. And I did that with UV and then attached them to like a gemstone planet. So it's going to be interesting.
Yes. I feel like when you go from because I went from epoxy to UV, right? And you're trying to translate it and it doesn't always translate well. And so you do like coloring epoxy is my favorite because you can make it as deep or as dark as you want. You know what I'm saying? But you can't do that to UV. And so you learn a lot of unfun lessons that
and do it in layers. That's what I've learned. Is if you want black, you've got to do thin layers.
I will tell you, I have ADHD. So longer projects, I tend to fizz out. So I know myself well enough that I have to do a project that's not going to take me 20 days, 10 days, 5 days. Like I just know that about myself. Other people, they have patience, they can do it, they get excited. Me, I'm like, we're done. Like, no, I can't do it.
One of my biggest pieces took me like 2 weeks, and that was I did an ostrich egg. So I ordered a real ostrich egg. I filled it with resin, then I carved it with a Dremel, and then I made it into a lamp, and that took me about 2 weeks, but still one of my favorite pieces. And it's one of my worst performing videos.
Well, can I tell you, I literally just saw that thumbnail to it. And
that's a new thumbnail.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And I would, yes. It's that, can I tell you, probably one of the reasons it's not doing well is because you have to figure out that thumbnail. It has to be something that catches them. Like that egg has to be the centerpiece. And if there's other things with it, it's not, but I saw that. I was like, that is super cool. That is super cool. Like,
and if anybody doesn't know, if you've not been following my channel, last night, I basically changed, I think 6 thumbnails where I was playing around with AI. Now, some of them, it's really aged me and I look about 20 years older. Some of them, I look scary, but I just thought it was something different and a bit of fun. So you may see some of my older videos popping back up with a new thumbnail. So I'll pre-warn you of that. And people in the Discord saw them and were laughing hysterically. So hopefully they'll be good. Lula's just asked me to remind everyone as well. She's doing a music collaboration, a World Book Day, sorry. Music. I think it's Music Day, not Book Day. Sorry. One of my mods has sent me World Book Day, but I'm pretty sure it's music. Let me go back.
She was talking about music. She was. I was seeing.
I'm sure she was. There we go. Yeah. So let everyone know that she's now open to World Music Day videos for this Saturday. So if you want to get involved in that, do a video, anything to do with world music, and email it to lula@nerdgoblinart, I believe, .com. I think that's right. Lula, correct me if I was wrong, but there we go. And again, she's just asked a question as well. What's your favorite kind of jewelry to make?
Oh, I'm the type that whatever my latest, like whatever I've conquered most recent is probably my favorite jewelry. So
okay.
I'm always looking for what can translate into UV, because like people do a lot of nails, right? They do resin nails, what I think is crazy, right? And so I'm seeing things, can that translate into jewelry? Or I like clay, there's things that they do with clay that like, can that translate into UV resin jewelry or epoxy? And so I will show you, recently I got this transfer paper for clay.
Okay.
And it's, can I tell you, I did not know this. It's just like a tattoo. I don't know if you guys have this in the UK. You know, like the sticky tattoos.
Temporary ones, yeah.
Yeah, and you wet it down. Like,
yeah.
That is it.
These ones don't come off, though. These ones, they're not temporary.
Yeah, that's not for UV resin. That's
no.
not. So the ones you have as a kid, the ones that stick, I tried it on one of my videos and it worked. And so it's been one of my favorite.
Oh, wow.
It's so pretty. It's like, you just put like a color background. Don't do like clear, because the clear is kind of like it's really like see-through or whatever. You can't see it as well. But that has been my favorite. And people are like, I want that. And so, yeah.
So what are they called? Are they stickers for clay?
So yeah, they're for clay. So they roll their, I don't know anything about clay. I'm actually gonna I did buy a kit that I may try out in front of people someday.
Okay.
So they're for clay. You roll out your clay and you stick these down on top of your clay, right? You stick it down and then you wet it down and then you take it off and then you, I don't know, make shapes and all this stuff and whatever. And so I'm like, can I use that for UV resin jewelry? Can I do that? So I made my layer. You make your layer, you harden it. And then I literally put it down and I was like, do I get it wet? Like, how's this going to work? And I was shocked. I was like, oh! It was my easiest.
Apparently Mac Fufu's in chat and she's saying that they saw the video and your reaction to them working was hilarious.
Because I want people to see my reaction, because I was like, oh, like, I can't believe that worked. Yeah. So I'm glad it was hilarious. I wanted to be. So yeah, that's been my favorite. Like, it's usually whatever I'm trying to conquer or what my latest technique that I can do is my usual favorite. So.
And what would you say your two most successful videos? What would you say made those videos more successful than the others?
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. I haven't a clue. Like, if I knew what made him successful, I would do that with every one of my other videos. Like, I go back and watch them. I'm like, that intro is garbage. Like, I just went blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't know why. Like, I don't know if it's a thumbnail. And that's like, sometimes the value of what people want, like, I want to make that or whatever, right? It could be the latest trend, or it could be what people, sometimes it's the value, sometimes it's the thumbnail. I have no idea.
We were saying before we came on, actually, that's the weird thing. You can never tell. And it's like you can spend weeks on a project and the video flops, or you could do one in 10 minutes and it could go almost viral, which is crazy.
Right? Like, so my friend, I'll show you, my friend sent me this little mushroom, because like she has teenagers and I don't yet. And she's like, teens love mushrooms. That like, these are the cutest, like, and so I just found it in my pile. She gave it to me and I made just like a 60-second video of this. Okay. For those that love mushrooms, I'm sorry. I think I made it ugly because there's lots of bubbles, but I made this mushroom, short video, and it was like, it's almost up to 10,000 views. And I'm like,
wow.
I don't even know anymore. I don't know.
But as I say, I think it's your energy. I think it really comes across in the videos, and that's what, when people get to know you, clearly they're going to keep watching, hopefully. And I've just noticed Steph in chat, she's just subscribed to you, which is great. And again, just give, do you know, before we go any further, give your channel a bit of a shout out to get some more people subscribing.
Like the handle, is that what I say?
Yeah, the handle and what you're all about.
Okay, so my handle is at Dezy, Dezy jewelry, at Dezy jewelry. I try to make it as simple as possible.
Spelled the American way, just so you know, with one L.
Wait, what? Say it again.
I think in the English way, it's got two L's. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but I think you're spelling it correctly for the American way. I think there's two different spellings.
True. There's only one L. Okay, so I married a Canadian, and they spell it with two L's. Like they do. But I spell it with one L, right? So like even like color is OU, and ours is just yes, totally. So it's Dezy jewelry with one L. And I know that I can teach. My parents were both teachers, and so I have a passion to teach. Yeah. And I have dyslexia as well. And so, I really struggle with instructions. Like if you hand me a book of instructions, I can read it 100 times and still can't understand. And so my heart is that when I teach something, it would break it down so simply that anybody who wants to make jewelry would feel they can. And so my 400 videos is all about making it as simple as possible. By the end, you would feel like you can, like that you're going to do it too. You're gonna make 1,000 of these that I just made and stuff. And so that's what my channel, I just have a passion to, if people want to learn how to make jewelry, that they would feel comfortable and be like, at the end of the day, I can do it now. So.
Cool. And do you do this full time now, or do you have a job that you do alongside as a teacher, or what do you do?
So I am a full-time mom. I stay at home with my kids. I even do homeschooling. And so I have found my rhythm in homeschool. I homeschool all three of my kids now. This last year was the first year I homeschooled all three. And I found my rhythm where we can get a full day's work done in the morning. So in the morning is when I teach my kids, we get it done. And then in the afternoon is when I'm able to shoot videos, edit videos, do those things. And so it's kind of like a part-time job, but I was like, I felt called to be just leave everything and be a full-time mom. And I'm the A-type personality where I need to be doing something else. I need to have other activities going. Yeah. And so I felt really led to teach and to do that. And
again, let's be honest, being a full-time mom, especially to three, is a full-time job as well in itself.
Yes. Today I said you get snacks and you can watch a show while I'm on. Do not come.
Look, I'm running in the background in a minute.
Yes. So I bribe them with snacks and shows when I need quiet time and stuff.
Yeah. Lynn in chat, she's agreeing. So Lynn's saying, "What do you mean you don't work? Stay-at-home mum is the hardest job in the world."
Agreed. Thank you. I agree wholeheartedly. I met my husband on World War II ships on the mission field, and then we had a nonprofit in California, and we gave away $3 million worth of donations, food, clothes, furniture. And I tell you, being a stay-at-home mom is harder than any. I mean, I love those jobs. Like those were like my favorite. Like I would do those in a heartbeat. But I felt like the Lord wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom, and it is harder job than anything, than sailing around the world, than picking up donations, and all it, like hands down.
Especially with the home teaching as well.
Yes.
I know my oldest is 14, so she's now a teenager.
Wow.
And with her, I can't teach her anything. Literally, I'll talk to her and she'll go, mm-mm. And that's the only response I get. How was your week, Megan? She'll go, mm-mm. And that's all I get from her. That's the whole conversation. My youngest is okay. She's 6, so she still loves her dad and wants to play with daddy, and daddy's the greatest thing in the world. But now my oldest has got to 14. That's it. She just doesn't want to communicate with me. She wants to go to her room, go on her phone, say 10 words to me in the day, and that's it.
Oh my God. Well,
I've heard as they get older, they sort of come out of the teenage stage and start loving you again. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Yes, that's the way I was with my parents, right? Teenage years, I was like, I don't want parents, and then you know, you come back to reality, you're like, I need my parents, I need them. So
And actually, behaviour-wise, she's brilliant. If I look at the way that I behaved when I was her age, then she's an angel, so that's fine. I'm not going to complain. I think when I was her age, I was going out around town drinking and all sorts. So very naughty of me. But yeah, that's the fun thing with kids. So tell me about when you first got into it. Then, where did you get your inspiration or your ideas from for your jewelry pieces?
So, funny thing is, my mother-in-law, who I just call mom, right? She's just mom to me. She wanted us girls. So she had 2 daughter-in-laws and 2 daughters. And she was always looking for things for us to do together. And my husband and I, you know, we were on mission. We were missionaries on World War II ships. So we didn't get to go home very often. And so we had planned to come home, and she's like, what can I do with my daughters? So she randomly, I don't know where she got this idea, but she bought all this like beaded jewelry stuff. She's never done it. She never had anyone teach her. She bought all this jewelry stuff for us to do together. And she had these beads, and she had all this stuff. And she's like, we're going to do this together. And none of us did. Like, none of us did. And so just before I left, I was like, I'm going to sit down and do it. And so I just sat there by myself, just fiddling around, making jewelry, doing what I could. And that started it. And she just sent me home with all the beads. Like, no one ever touched it. She never touched it. And so that's what got me started. And it was almost, I would say 20 years ago that I've been making jewelry. And then probably like 4 years ago, I started doing epoxy. So it really translated well, right? Like, I knew how to make necklaces, earrings, bracelets, but then now I can make my pendants. I can make like the dangly stuff and everything. So
with the beaded jewelry then, because I'm no expert in jewelry, I'll be honest.
No,
I've got a chain and I used to have a ring, but I don't wear that anymore. So, but with the little beaded ones that you're on about, are they those tiny little beads that you put on the string?
No, I hate tiny beads. I hate tiny beads. Oh, I can't stand seed beads because they just take forever to do. And so I tend to get, I did do glass for a long time because it was just inexpensive and I could buy it, you know. I like the chunkier stuff. So this is just random one I have.
Okay.
So, but then, crazy circumstance I won't get into. I met a guy who his health was going down, and he sold stone beads.
Okay.
And he's like, I will give you a good deal for my whole, like his life, you know, his life career. I will sell you all my beads. And so for the first time in my life, I have stone beads, and I've always wanted them, but I just could never afford them. And so I spent some of my savings on that. And
are they like beads made out of rocks and stones, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I can show you, like, these are some of these I've been showing lately. So they're really pretty.
Wow.
Like just the different like markings on them and design and stuff. And I even sell, so I have a website that I sell beads online. So I sell those at a compared. Oh my gosh. I went into a bead store the other day. I'm like, you're selling it for what? Like $40, $50, $30. And I'm like, I'm selling it for like less than $10. And so I do sell the beads because, one, I like using them, and 2, why not? I mean, I have so much, why not sell them and stuff? So.
Well, Laura's just, Laura from Laura's Design Studio has just said, ask you about your shop. So perfect timing.
So I'm really bad at selling my jewelry. I don't know why. I suck at it, but I will sell beads all day long. And so DezyJewelry.com. So pretty much say, you know, DZY jewelry with one L.com. And I sell beads and stuff. I do sometimes do kits. Like if a holiday's coming up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this would be so fun. Like if someone just makes one earring or, you know, a pair of earrings or one necklace, you know, here's a little kit for $5 or whatever. And so, but I don't know why I stink so much at selling. I go to craft fairs too. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. I do. I'm doing it for my audience because they don't know how to craft fair. And so I'm like, I'm doing it for you. I'm going to learn how to do this. And
I'm not here to sell anything, honest.
I'm not. I actually bring my kids with me, and they do a better job selling than I do. And so,
wow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the jewelry side though, because when I first got into resin, interestingly, there's a UK artist called Daniel Cooper, and he's amazing.
Yes.
And he got me inspired with his Petrie effects and things like that. So I've literally got probably 200 cabochons that when I first started, I started playing with it, and I've literally got 200 cabochons. But I just don't find jewelry sells for me anyway. And I'm like, what do I do with all these pieces that I've made? And I was just going to ask you actually if you've got any advice for me or anybody else on how to, I suppose, maybe photograph your jewelry, maybe how to get it in the best light so that you're more likely to get a sale.
Yes. Jewelry. So at a craft fair, someone was teaching me because she was really good at selling, and she said your product is 30% of what sells and 70% is your personality. And I'm like, oh, I hate talking. Oh no.
So that's why I'm not selling any.
Yeah, I saw it. Hi. Anyway, and so it really is the marketing side, right? It's do you market well? Because you can have the most beautiful product, but if your pictures stink or you don't like have the right title or whatever, then like people aren't going to click, because you have to think of your shop as the, when you go window shopping, right? If you go like you're down the street and you go window shopping, if that window doesn't pull you in and get you into that shop, you're not going to go in, right? And so your pictures and your titles is the window to your shop and stuff. And so
you see, I'm the opposite though. If I see a window that looks really old and tatty and like it, nobody goes in there, that's the first shop I go in, because I think, well, nobody else has been in here. What am I going to find? But it's like in the States, I think you call them thrift stores. In the UK, we call them like charity shops. I love spending an hour just walking around a charity shop. And it's like I do little things like wood carving and things like that. So I'll see if there's a piece of wood furniture that somebody's just left there that I can pick up for 10 quid and then carve into it a design. And I love nothing more than that. If I see somewhere like there's a shop called Flannels in the UK where it's like £300 for a t-shirt, that will just put me off and I won't walk in.
Yeah. True. And so I struggle with that because like custom made jewelry is a luxury, and I'm thrifty like you. I'm just like, I want it for the best price, the cheapest price, and so it is a struggle for me, my pricing, because I'm just so thrifty. I'm like, oh, you would spend that much for, and so I'm not really good at that. So when it comes to pictures, you can either get, so I'm going to show you, I have my lights, right? I have these gorgeous lights.
Yeah.
And I literally use a piece of computer paper, right? The white background, right?
Okay.
I just put white computer paper behind it and I take pictures. If I don't like the picture, cloudy days, if you have cloudy days or dusk or dawn, those are the best time to take pictures outside, because you don't have the glare, you don't have the light and stuff. And so I will go outside. I love cloudy days just for the fact of taking pictures. I'm like, yes, it's a cloudy day, I can take lots of beautiful pictures. And so cloudy days, I love taking pictures. And then I will go and I edit everything on my phone. I edit everything on my phone, because on your phone, you can edit any picture, right? And you can make it, you can make it brighter. You can make it the right color. Because sometimes when you take a picture, it's not the color of your product, because somehow the phone just made it all weird color and stuff.
All different,
so, yeah, so I change it to where it's identical to that product. And so I mess around my phone, and it has like 10 different options to change, to edit your picture. And that's the way I do my pictures and stuff. And so
when you do your jewelry, because this is something else I was curious about, because again, I could probably make 200 jewelry pieces tomorrow just with the cabochons I've got in my drawer. But they're all unique. They're all different because they're resin. And so it would take a lot of time to individually photograph each individual piece. So I'm wondering if I wanted to start, let's say, a creator shop or something like that to sell jewelry, am I better off batch making 10 of the same? And then you've only got to do one picture and one listing, but you've got 10 items. Because again, it would probably take you the same amount of time to list it, but you could have 10 sales.
So for you, right? Like I would literally, if I have a ton that, okay, so I make keychains, and they're all different, right? They're swirl, they're different, right? And so I will take a picture of one to be the highlight picture, right? Because to draw.
They were great, by the way. Show one of them up again. I love that.
Oh. So these are what I call the tie-dye of epoxy, right? Like this is just alcohol ink, right?
Yeah.
This is
and have you got a bit of white going through it as well?
Yeah, the white. So the white pulls it because it won't pull it, right? And so these never are the same once, right? They're never they're different. Yeah. And so I will take a picture, like my first picture that people see, right, to bring them into my store, right, is my favorite one, is the most beautiful one. But then I will have literally a picture of like 10 of them and be like, and write in my description, like it changes all the time. It's not, like you're gonna get a different one than just the first one you saw. Like I will be very clear to my customers that they're not gonna get the first one that they saw. It's gonna be any of these, like you pick your color, but the color is it's going to look different. Does that make sense? Am I explaining? Yeah. Okay.
No, it makes perfect sense. Like every bloom you do is completely different because the resin moves differently. And again, you could do a project exactly the same way 10 times and get 10 different pieces. It's like Froggy Fridays we do. You could pour the same colored resin the same way every week and get a different result.
Yes. So I have one picture of 10 of them, right? Let's say 10 of them. So people can kind of see that it's going to be different in variation, because it's all about the customer's expectation. If you don't meet the customer's expectation, they're going to be upset, right? And so to try to not have their expectations up, but to be realistic of these are 10 options and it's going to look something like this.
Yeah, it looks similar.
Yes.
Petra as well in chat, who's coming on a live in a few weeks. I'm excited for that as well. She's just put, do you have a piece of jewelry that you really don't want to sell? And what kind of jewelry is it?
Okay. Andy, we were just talking about being thrifty, right? Like we were talking about being, we like thrifty things. So at my craft fair, I actually have a bargain section of things I do not like. They either didn't sell or I made a mistake, or my mistake, right? And they will be $3. And it's amazing to see people like come there that are as thrifty as us and be like, oh, I'm going to get, I can get lots of presents for my family now for Christmas, right? And they see things we don't see because we see the imperfections and they just see the piece and stuff. So I literally do have a bargain section when I do craft fairs. For that. So
that's a good idea. But again, I think you're right. It's like some of my pieces, I don't think as a creator or an artist or whatever, you're never 100% happy with your pieces. No. And I'll put a video out there of like a bloom failure or something like that. So I've got one on my desk actually. So this one for me, it was a little bit heavy. So I'm not going to send this out to the person that I made it for because of those little blobs in the center. But then I've shown people and they're like, well, that's gorgeous. And I'm like, no, it's heavy. I don't like it. But everybody likes different things. And I think that's the thing that you need to remember is that some people will love different pieces to what you like, and everyone's got different taste.
Yeah. And your expectations weren't met, right? Like you have expectation of how it should look and the quality you want, and it wasn't met. But not everybody has that expectation. No. And so
some just like pretty colors, as long as it's pretty colors, then good piece.
Right. And so I would sell that, even like I would put that out as like a normal piece I would sell, but not to the person I was, because this was my expectation for this person, right? But then I would just put it for regular audience and if no one sells it, then I'll put it in my bargain section, right? And so you kind of see, yeah.
Well, I've been thinking about restarting my eBay store because I closed it down basically because I wasn't getting many sales and it was a lot of time to maintain. But I've been thinking about leaving pieces on there for, let's say, 30 days at a price what I think they're worth. And then if they don't sell, just start them at 99-cent auctions.
Yeah.
And whatever they go for, they go for. That way you should hopefully at least get some of your money back for the resin.
Yeah, totally. And if you put like limited time, people are like, I want to get, what I'm saying? It's so crazy. Like the psychology of us, right? Like if you say limited time, not going to be here for long, then people like, they're more likely to be like, I got to jump on it. How many craft fairs do you do a year and does it get tiring?
See, craft fairs, I'm intrigued how they work in the States because in the UK, we do get them normally around Christmas time is when they're more popular. But I've looked at a few of the ones locally near where I live and they're like £300 to have a little table. And I think I walk around them and I think, you're not selling anything. You're not selling anything. You're not selling anything. So I start to think that the only people that are making money are the ones that actually do the craft fairs.
So I have learned I have learned some lessons from craft fairs. So one, you got to research your craft fair, right? You got to research if they've done it in the past, how successful they were about bringing people, because the people putting it on, they're the ones that bring in the people there. You as a creator can advertise all you want, but you're not, it doesn't matter because you'll bring in like 1 or 2 people. Like, and so I went to a craft fair in the spring that I had been to in Christmas, and it was one of my best craft fairs, right? So I was like, sweet, they're going to do a great job in the spring. I want to jump on this. And apparently the person that advertised changed, and they didn't advertise at all. And we barely got anybody that came in that day. And so I actually wrote them, nicely. I never like to go off on anybody. I don't like to call names. And I just said, I just said nicely, your job is to advertise. Like we spend all this time and effort, and if you don't advertise, then we don't, then in the end, we won't be coming back to your craft fair, not because we believe in cancel culture, but because it's not worth it to us. Right. Yeah. And so, you have to do your homework as a crafter. Do they advertise? Because if they don't, you don't want to do it. How many people are attending? Right? Because sometimes they jack up the price because they think a lot of people are going to attend, but they don't attend. Right. Yeah. And so, there's this one craft fair I did that I did not know that they were going to charge $17 per person to get in. By the time you have a whole family coming into this event, they don't want to spend money on you. Like they don't. Yeah. And so I wrote them again. I go, I love your event. I love where it's at, but you can't be charging that much, or that it doesn't worth it. And they still didn't listen, and they're going to charge about that much this year. And I said, I'm not doing it. Right. And so, if I have found in the States, if they're charging a lot and they've been successful, you're going to get that money in more by a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to know if they've had success in the past. If they haven't had success in the past, like they're just like, this is the first time year, don't do it. Like, don't like you don't know how well it's going to do.
Unless it's free.
Yeah.
Then it might be worth going.
Yeah.
So Petra's just gone back to her original question. She just wanted to know, is there a piece that you've made that you want to keep and that you would never sell?
Oh, I get what you're saying. I'm so sorry. I thought you were saying, are there pieces I'm too embarrassed to sell or don't like to sell? Is there a piece I would make and never sell? That's a hard question. I have to admit, I'm the type that even if I love it, I'll eventually either give it to a friend or sell it. Like there's times I don't really have any. Nope, I really don't have anything that I would never sell. And I know there's lots of jewelry people that do, right? They make something and it's so special to them that they never sell it. I have lived a life with nothing, and I've given away everything 2 times. And so I'm not the type of person to keep things. That's just my personality. Did I answer the question? I do.
Yeah, I think so. And everybody's different like that. I've got certain pieces that I wouldn't choose to sell, but if somebody threw a load of money at me, I'd probably sell them, because that would buy more resin. I can create more things. Right. And I think that's where my enjoyment comes from. It's the creativity. It's making something new from something that wasn't there. And it's like some of it's like even my wood carvings. So I did my favorite one's an elephant one, which is literally it's that sort of size, and it's just the head of an elephant. And I did it in end grain. And I did try listing it on like Facebook Marketplace because I thought it's an amazing piece. I've never done anything better than that in wood carving. And I was getting offered £10. And I was like, hang on, the wood cost me more than that. Right. And I've just decided that's a piece that I'll never recreate. So I might as well just keep it for myself and just enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there are plenty of craft creators, right, that would not sell a piece because it's just that sentimental to them, or they like it that much. And I think that's fine. I think that's fine if you never sell a piece or not, right?
And don't get me wrong, I've done a memorial piece for my sister with her ashes in. I wouldn't sell that because that's obviously for me personally and things like that. And then I've got another one that I'm going to be doing in about a month's time with some of my mother's original jewelry. And I'm actually going to encase that in like resin because I lost my mum years ago. And I think that way it'll preserve it. And I'm just, without spoiling it, getting into preserving flowers. I'm playing with that in resin. So Tim that's in chat and he's got a question. He's amazing with his flower pieces. So again, I've got myself some silica sand and I'm just experimenting at the minute. So the plan is to try and combine all of that into one piece that I can treasure forever. And I think it helps preserve memories. But Tim did ask, actually, he said he's just subscribed to your channel. So that's at least 2 we've had subscribed so far. And he said he wants to know, do you make any large pieces?
No, I do not. I've had people ask, okay, there is a friend of mine that when she gets an idea, she wants me to do it, right? And so I have made large pieces for her, and I've almost cried myself to sleep at night. Not really, but pretty traumatized by the big pieces. And I do it for friends. I don't do it for funsies. My sister, that someday I need to get a sponsor because it's just a lot of resin. My sister, where she lives, they had a tree cut for the capital of our country, right? So they go, I guess I don't understand it too well, but the capital of our country goes to different places in the States and asks for a Christmas tree.
Okay.
So they'll cut it down. It's this big ordeal. They'll bring this beautiful truck, right? And they'll cut the tree down and send it to the Capitol and have it up there. Well, they did that where my sister lives by, right? Yeah. So my brother-in-law is he fights fires for the forest, and so he knows all the things. So they cut this tree down. He went back there and because they left a big stump, right? And he went and he cut a big for a table that I would love to make for her someday, but that would probably be like a one-off, never doing it again. Please don't let me destroy this Christmas tree magical thing. So I don't do big. I do little.
That's what I want to do at some point over the summer, before winter kicks in again in the UK, which normally we get about a week's worth of sunshine. But I want to do my first big project as in a table. Because I think they look amazing, and I love wood and I love resin. And when you get those river tables, they look stunning. But I'm going to start small, but it's still going to cost a fortune because I'm going to start with a coffee table. So and just do a coffee table size piece. But even that's probably going to cost me £300 in resin and wood.
Yes, all that, right? It's super expensive, and people don't realize that custom made stuff is super expensive. It's not made in a factory. It's not whatever. And people are shocked by the price, but they don't realize how much it really costs and stuff.
And it's like resin's not cheap.
No.
Doesn't matter where you get it from. It's not cheap.
Okay, question for you. Making the table, are you worried about scratches? Because epoxy resin is more like scratchable. Like how do you deal with that?
You need to make sure you use the right resin from what I've learned. So I think you can get special hardened resin to just add a surface to it afterwards, which gives it an anti-scratch coating. But the other good thing with resin, if you get a scratch, you just put another thin layer on and it gets rid of it.
That's true. So
I've got, as I say, I've got 2 girls. So I'm not probably going to worry about the scratching and just give it a thing, recoat every year after it's done.
Right.
Still easier than treating the wood. So if you have to, I don't know, revarnish something every year.
Yeah.
I still think it'd just be so easy to just pour another layer over the top and get rid of all the scratches.
That's where trouble comes in. I just think it's so easy. I've said that before. It's just going to be so easy. It's going to be so that it's not as easy as it.
I don't think it'll be easy. And the biggest thing I need to figure out is how I'm going to create a mold of the right size and things like that. And make sure it's watertight so nothing leaks.
Yeah. I've heard of lots of tape and certain all the Yeah,
it'll be fun. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. So if there's any resin companies out there that want to see that as a project and want to sponsor me for it, I'm here.
Send out letters. I mean, seriously. So for one of the things I did for the ships was procure items, not money, but procure items, right? So the ship needed a filter. They need that, and go to companies. And that's the same like you do with YouTube. Like you go to a company, you're like, this is what I want to do. This is a bit, you know what I'm saying? Like send out letters. And it's so surprising what
people respond.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always say that to people that are just starting out. And actually, I'm quite fortunate. I've got a good relationship with a particular company, but I didn't have that all the time. I sent them an email and I said, look, I'd love to work with you. I've got a YouTube channel. It's growing. Can we work together? And then they sent me a little product first to try. I did a video on it. They got some sales from it. And they're like, let me keep sending you products and keep doing videos. And I was like, yes, please.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, they don't ship resin to the UK though. Otherwise, I'd be well away. But it's one of those things. I think as you grow, I think you get more people reach out to you as well and say, "Look, we've seen your channel, or we've heard of your channel," but there's no harm in reaching out to them and saying, "Look, I know you do this, this, and this. How about we work together, and I help you by hopefully showcasing your product, and you help me by me not having to pay for the product." I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as you do honest reviews. And again, I've done some reviews where they probably weren't that good on the product, but I've been honest. And actually, the company that I did that review on then have revised that product, and they're bringing out a new one. So it's good, I think, to give honest feedback.
Yes, I've had a couple of those. I even sent a company where I was like, okay, so it didn't go well, and this is why. I can edit that, to honor them, right? I can edit just that part. It's not a big deal. You want me to edit that part out? And they said yes. And it wasn't like where I wouldn't buy it again. It was just like, this isn't the best light for you. There was a company though, they sent me a mixer and the mixer was malfunctioning. And I showed it because it was and so they sent me another mixer.
And did that work the second time?
I haven't opened it. I've been on vacation. I haven't opened it yet. It's still nicely.
Oh, well, let's hope it does. Because again, sometimes you have got to remember that if these big companies make hundreds of products, there's going to be one or two faulty ones. It's just the nature of mass producing things. But most of them offer a 12-month warranty. So make sure you save those details, and then you can obviously get it fixed. Because I've had that before, where I've had a product come through and it wasn't quite right, and I emailed the company and they sent me a new one and said, "Look, really sorry, you've obviously got a bad one."
Yes. Yeah. And I have my father-in-law look over all he looks over it. I'm like, "Dad, did I do it? Was it like me malfunction or was it the product malfunction and stuff?" And he'll look it over and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Lula's just suggested that I contact a wood company locally and tell them that I'll advertise them on my channel. That's a good idea for the wood. Now I need to find somewhere for the resin as well. And actually, there's 2 wood yards near me where I could probably approach them. So
nice.
Not a bad idea. But again, going back to you and your channel then, you're at nearly 22,000 subscribers. Within how long is it? When did you start doing the resin? Did you say it was a couple of years?
So resin's been a couple of years. So I've had the channel for a long time. We moved so much, we just moved into our permanent home a year ago. So we've moved a lot, and I would shut it down, bring it back up, shut it down, bring it back up. So it grew quite a bit, but it hasn't grown. It started to really grow in the last probably 2 years.
Okay.
And so yeah, when I finally got really serious this last year because we had a home, I knew we were going to move again. I took the biggest room in the house, and I was like, "Joel, I really need the biggest room," and he was, gracious and did it and stuff. And so, probably just the past couple of years, that's when it started to take off.
So, what do you think it was about the past couple of years that made it take off? Have you done anything different? Were you just more consistent, or?
I will say I did go on YouTube and study a lot of people who said how to do YouTube better, right? So how to do thumbnails better, how to do an intro better, how to, what's the latest thing that YouTube is looking for. And I did all, I would change all that. I changed all my thumbnails. I changed my intro. I would say another big thing is at the beginning, I just say really briefly, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you click the subscribe button. And people the call to action is actually real. We think it's annoying, but it actually really works. And so
if you don't tell people what to do, you can't blame them for not doing it.
No. And my husband tells me I'm not good at directing people to my website, which I'm not. So that's probably, that's on me and stuff. But the things I do ask my audience to do, they do really well. But I would, I would say it's studying YouTube and how to do YouTube well. And I still haven't found the exact sweet spot that I would like for my videos to take off a bit more, but whatever, you just keep growing and learning.
But an interesting fact for anybody that's starting a channel, which you might not know, you might know. I obviously watch a lot of these YouTube gurus as well and things like that. I don't believe all of what they say. I think some are real, more real than others and things like that. Yeah. But Mr. Beast, most of us have heard about Mr. Beast.
Mm.
It took him 2 years to get monetized. Most people don't know that.
Yeah. And 900 videos.
Yeah. which again, there's a lot in the resin community that have done it in a lot less time and a lot less videos. So technically, you could be bigger than Mr. Beast if you start today.
Yeah. And I mean, like the videos I've seen on Mr. Beast, right? Like he has, I mean, like he's, as a person, I'm like, you're not my favorite. Like I wouldn't want to hang out with you, you know, and go for coffee or anything. But business wise, like the things he says, like I just lost my train of thought. The advice he has and the way he studied YouTube. So like he studied YouTube hard, right?
Yeah.
He how did the algorithm, he studied what people like, he studied, you know what I'm saying? Like he did his homework. Like it wasn't just an overnight success. It was the hard work, the homework, the putting himself out there that props to him kind of thing.
And I agree. Do you know, I think it's amazing what he's done within a short space of time, but it shows the opportunity for everybody else out there as well, because YouTube is getting bigger every year. The audience, the people that watch the videos is getting bigger every year as well. So I often get people say to me, well, actually, I've missed the boat, or it's too late to start a channel now. I disagree. I think now is the perfect time because there's more and more people watching YouTube than ever before. And yes, there's more creators. But if you can make your videos slightly different, slightly your own, with your personality in there, you will build an audience around you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And be yourself, right? Like, don't like look to other people for inspiration, but don't like be yourself. Don't clone. And yeah, there has to be, like, one of the YouTubers I listen to, like there has to be something that they're not doing that you can do, right? That is uniquely you, that you are good at, that you can do that other people can't, even in your niche of 1,000 million other jewelry makers or whatever. And so, yeah.
And I think we said before we started, actually, it's often about trying to find something different. And again, that's why I've been playing around with AI thumbnails and stuff like that, which are just bizarre. But it's interesting to try something different and see what works. See what works for you. See what works for your channel. Tim saying, wait till he gets his age. Losing his train of thought is his forte, apparently.
I take lots of notes, Tim. I take lots of notes. I'm just like, I know I'm going to forget.
I'm lucky I've got my wonderful mods that are messaging me through the questions so we don't miss any. Otherwise, I would forget them all.
Yes. Absolutely.
So resin-wise then, is there a technique that you haven't done yet that you want to do or want to learn?
I think, well, there is one technique that I would like to be better at that I think I'm going to start trying again. You showed me the flower, the bloom, right? Like I have not been able to perfect that in the small, right?
Yeah.
So big is a lot easier because you have more
space. Something while you're there.
Yeah. Big is a lot easier because you have more space to do things with. But when it goes to a little guy, you don't have as much, like you can overfill it very easily and you don't want to overfill. And so I would like to perfect the bloom in a itty bitty little living space. So
that's one of my big ones. And that was a big sort of rainbow bloom that I did, one of my first big ones. But then actually I did a live creation of this one where the audience picked the pigments and the colors, and it came out as one of my favorites. So again, this is a piece that I'll never sell because for me, it was created by the people on that live, and that will never happen again. So it's a special piece to me. But again, I think with that, it's just about experimenting and having fun. You know, every resin's different. You need to learn that. And you need to find the sweet spot for that particular resin and whatever you're adding into it. So if you're doing an alcohol ink bloom, for example, it's pretty straightforward. As long as you mix your white okay, you won't go wrong. Right. If you add micas, they're heavier. If you add pigment pastes, they can be heavier. So then you've just got to keep playing with it until you find the right temperature for that particular resin and whatever you put in, which you will get mistakes, but that's part of the fun, I think.
Yeah. And it's like, again, like translating it into this is not a bloom, but translating into something so small, you only have so much room to work before it overflows. And so that is like, again, I'm always trying to see what I can translate into jewelry, what I can translate big and small, translate, other, and so my thing with this bloom is I have such a small space. Can I really do it to the beauty that it comes out in those pieces that you just showed and stuff?
Well, if you go back through my videos, there might be one that you might want to watch, which is how to put blooms in a tiny pendant.
Yeah.
I managed to do it once,
Okay.
and I got it on video. And they're not a perfect bloom, but they look like orchids, and I think they came out gorgeous. So again, you might want to go back and watch that one. I can't remember whether I did it with UV or whether I did it with epoxy now. It was that long ago.
I don't know if you can do it with UV. I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. I'm going to say that. I think it has to be with epoxy because it does this beautiful spreading out, and UV does not do that to the beauty in the
same extent. Yeah.
Right. Someone asked about ADHD. Can you find that about ADHD? They were asking a question about, I don't know if you can find that.
Oh, my mods haven't sent me that one, I don't think, with ADHD. So let me go back. Here we go. Lula was saying when you have ADHD, age can have nothing to do with it, apparently. I think that's losing your chain of thought.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, no. Since becoming a mom, I lose more train of thought than anything. So yeah, no. ADHD is more like you get a high from going thinking in so many different directions and have a harder time focusing because you're just go.
Petra in chat, she's a bit of a bloom expert, by the way. She's done some amazing blooms on her channel, and she's just put she doesn't even take the temperature, so she's obviously got used to her resin. And Tim's saying he resined his floor, the shower floor, the sink, the countertop, his whole bathroom is resin.
That's wild.
Tim, I'm sorry, I still haven't watched that, but I need to go back. He did a video on it as well, so I need to watch that. That's a huge project.
That's crazy. I gotta tell you, so I don't want to forget this because I wanted to say this live. So I was telling my kids I was doing this interview today, and that Andy from another country, we're going to interview together. And at breakfast, my girls were like, "So when Andy's coming over today?" And I was like, "No, Andy's not coming over." They're like, "Well, what? Like, how are you going to do this?" And so it was so funny. Even my youngest is like, "Yeah, I thought he was coming over. Like, I thought."
Yeah, just going to jump on a plane, fly across for an hour, and then fly back.
Oh, so funny. So funny.
The channel's not that big yet. It can't afford the plane tickets. Right. One day. Right. But I've said that's one of my dreams as the channel grows, is to be able to visit different parts of the world and meet artists that we've maybe had on the lives that are part of the community, things like that, and actually meet them in person. But again, it's like Lula, she's one of my mods. She's only in Wales. She's only 3.5 hours drive away. And I've still not been to drive to meet her, never mind in other countries. So, but I think that's the great thing. As it grows, it gives you more opportunities to do things like that, I think.
Yeah, totally.
So just to pre-warn everybody in chat, we've already gone over an hour. Can you believe it? It seems like 10 minutes.
Crazy.
So any last minute questions in chat for either myself or for Dezy, put them in chat in caps lock. We'll make sure we get them all finished before we close out the live. And also just to remind everybody about the music collaboration that Lula's doing. Oh, have I frozen? Oh, no, I'm back. So just email nerdgoblinart@gmail.com before Saturday with your video for the music collaboration. So there we are. Next week as well, just so everyone knows, we've got another gentleman on the show. So we've got Butch coming on from Butch's Resin Creations. So that's going to be exciting. You'll have 2 men on the screen. So very exciting, ladies. But yeah, it should be an interesting one. But no, have you got any questions? Because I know you said before we started, are you allowed to ask me questions?
Oh, yeah,
and you can, by all means. I'm an open book.
I even have like little notes right here. I was looking over yours as well. You started in 2019. Like you started YouTube.
I started my channel in 2019.
Right.
But I didn't really do anything with it.
Well, what made you go, I could do that? Or like what made you start?
I'll be honest. So I started the wood carving, and if you haven't watched my first video on the channel, I think it was like 4 years ago officially, the first video I posted, and I looked 12 in that video, even though it was only 4 or 5 years ago. And literally, it's 2 minutes of me on the camera going, "Hey everybody, I'm going to start wood carving, and if you want to come along on the journey, subscribe." And that's literally it. And it's literally that tone. I go back and watch it every now and then for a good laugh. And then I did the wood carving videos for a while, but they take so long. So to do a proper wood carving, it used to take me probably a week to get the detail in that I wanted. And then I'd have to edit it. And I thought I was enjoying it, and I still do enjoy it every now and then. But then I fell into resin, and I think it was because I watched I think it was Daniel Cooper again. So shout out to Dan if you're watching. I watched one of his videos and I saw the Petri effect, and I was like, wow, I need to learn how to do that. And then I did what we all do. I got a cheap kit off Temu, and to my surprise, even with that, it worked. And I was like, oh my God. And then from that minute on, I was just hooked. I love it. I love learning new techniques. I love teaching people as well. So a bit like you said, I think part of my passion for resin is not just me doing it, it's teaching others how to do it, and then they can learn those techniques. And even when I have 100 views on a video, and let's say it's not performing very well, if one person's put a comment in there to say they enjoyed it or they learned something from it, it's worthwhile.
Yeah, totally. Tim asked a question where I'm at in the States. I'm on the West Coast. I am West Coast.
Okay. I think Tim's in Texas, South Texas, if memory serves correct.
I lived in Texas for a couple months and moved to Louisiana for 4 years, whatever. So go Texas.
Yeah, I do want to visit Texas. I don't know why. I've just got pictures of it being old cowboy country with ranches everywhere, horses everywhere, cows, people still riding.
Oh gosh, I've heard stories of people from another country. You know, it's the old West, it's the West, right? And they come and they get geared up in this big belt and like hat,
cowboy hat.
And can I tell you, they look just like you and me. Like don't like come there to visit, but but don't wear cowboy gear.
I'll take my outfit back now. I've already bought the outfit and everything ready.
Send it back, return it, because so in the town I grew up, they have rodeo, and we do have people dressed as cowboy. You know, they were always the weird ones in my school or whatever, but we do have people like that. But you just they're not in Texas. You gotta find them in other pockets of the country.
You see, and the rodeo, I mean, I've seen some of those, and I get some people disagree with it because of the bulls and things like that, but it's an amazing skill to be able to hang on to an animal of that size that's trying to kick you off. And I know there's a lot of injuries that happen and things like that, and I've only ever seen it in films or on the TV, so I've never seen it in real life. But I think what an amazing skill that they must have to learn to be able to do things like that. And even the cowboys, when they're doing the lassoing and things, because people actually do that. That's not just fake on TV.
No, I dated a guy that could lasso before my husband. I dated a guy that could lasso and stuff. And he did really well. We would have a rodeo every year in my hometown. They still do. But can I tell you, my first rodeo, a 17-year-old died, and I'm like, I'm done. But that doesn't that doesn't happen every year, right? Like that does not. But it just happened to be my first experience, and I'm like, well, I'm good.
It kind of puts you off.
Yeah.
But then again, if you think about it, though, it's like theme parks. Things sometimes go wrong on rides and stuff like that, and that could put you off if that's your first experience. You know, it's crazy. But now, have you any more questions from you, Dezy? I want to give you as many opportunities as you want.
I was looking at your. I don't know if it's community. They changed it on YouTube, but you said buy me a coffee. What's that about? Tell me about that.
Well, there's a buy me a coffee link, which is basically, again, if people want to support your channel. So it's dead easy to set up. And the reason I set that up is originally I was getting some people reaching out to me saying they'd learned something from a video and how can they support me? And I said, go to buy me a coffee and buy me a coffee. And literally, I think it's like $4. They donate $4 and then you get to keep it as $4, which is amazing. But I've also, for me, one of the biggest things where I've sort of really appreciate it is memberships. So I've started memberships on my channel where people can become a member And every month, what I do is I do a free giveaway of a piece of my art, and I ship it wherever they are in the world to any of those members, and it goes into a prize draw.
Wow. Wow.
So,
And okay, question two. Okay, I have 2 questions now. Buy me coffee. Do you do anything special, or is that just like they just buy you? That's it. But your membership, you say you send something around, around the world, or you lottery, whatever.
So the memberships, they get biggest perks are they get early access to every video. So as soon as I upload a video, members can view it. Now I try and be 3 or 4 weeks ahead. So general public don't get to see that video for 3 or 4 weeks. So again, if you've got a resin channel, you might want to try that technique on your channel and things like that. And it might take you a few weeks to do it. But that's one of the biggest perks. And then the other one is that free prize draw. And it's just something different that I wanted to do so that people in the world can have a piece of my art.
That's cool. That's cool. I am not as scheduled as you are. I do it that week and it's out that week. Like I video edit and then
I have to because of work. So I work obviously full time as well. And then I've got my girls sort of 3 weekends a month. So that leaves 1 weekend really of me time. And again, it's like everything else, editing videos on the YouTube channel, doing these lives and things like that. It takes up a lot of time and arranging guests, making sure that we've got guests for the following week and stuff like that. So that's why if I'm not at least 2 weeks ahead, I start panicking because what if I get hit by a bus tomorrow? What's going to happen on the channel? And that's why I try and stay ahead. But again, I get it. Some people do a video a day and I don't know how they can keep up with that pace.
But you do. I mean, it's amazing you can schedule that far. I kudos. Like that's amazing. That's totally.
The only problem you get sometimes though is I'll upload a video for in like a month's time, and then randomly 6 other channels do the same technique the week before, and I'm like, but I put this up a month ago. It just hasn't gone live. But yeah, it's crazy.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh, there we go. We've got Claire in from Claire's Crafty Corner. So that's the one whose energy I said was a bit similar to yours in your videos. So you're like the American version of Claire. So hi Claire. And that is a compliment, Claire. I promise.
I don't know. It might not be. It might not be.
But no, I'm just having a look now. And do you know what? We've consistently had 40 to 50 in tonight. So that's been good to see. I think you've got a reasonable following. I think you've got about 10 new subscribers so far. And what tends to happen is with these lives, they get added to a playlist. And a lot of people that can't be here at this time watch it afterwards. And again, some of the channels, and this is one of the things that I'm really excited about. Next year, so in about 6 months' time, these will have been happening for a full year. And we're going to revisit the channels when they came on and where they are a year later.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think Lula herself, she's just gone, I think it's over 2,500 subscribers. And I remember, I think it was only 3 or 4 months ago when she came on, she was just over 200-300. And it's amazing to see that growth.
That is amazing.
So another question for you then. A lot of people, when it comes to YouTube, they get panicky about starting a channel because they think, what are people going to think? And things like that. So what would you say to somebody that's always wanted to do it, that's a little bit nervous?
That your first couple videos are not going to be a masterpiece, and that's okay. Like the more you do it, the more you learn. Like just have the motto that make the next video 1% better, or what's one thing you can change that would be better than the last video. And pretty soon you'll be getting your stride. But it is nervous. Like it's not like you've never been on a camera before. Like what do you look, or whatever. And your first couple videos are not going to be great. Even Mr. B said your first 100 videos are not going to be great. And so that's okay. Like just click as what do they call it? One of the people I watch, like just click that button, click record, just click record. Just click record and keep going, because don't let your nerves, whatever is stopping you, just jump over that and then keep going.
And again, if you panic about your face being on camera, most of the time in resin videos, it's just your hands. And when you've got gloves on, they could be anyone's hands,
There's tons of faceless YouTube channels that are very successful. There are tons of it. I just want, yeah, there's tons of just hand videos. So
do you also get a single thumb down? Petra's asking. I'm guessing that she's got somebody going like that on her videos, just one person.
I don't know if you know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I am not everybody's cup of tea. And,
okay.
I've had plenty of.
That's a very British phrase, by the way. You're not everyone's cup of tea. I like it.
You like that? You like that phrase? Okay, good. Okay, because I use it a lot. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody's gonna like you, and you don't have to have the world like you. You just have to be you, and there will be plenty of people that do like you and stuff. And I think I deleted like 2 comments today that I'm like, meh. Like there's there's comments that are good, that you need that critique, right? You need that the music's too loud. Oh, I didn't know the music was too loud. Or you know what I'm saying? Like there's critiques, but there's some that are just mean and nasty, and you're like,
yeah.
You know, I'm a real person. Like I got feelings, right? And at the end of the day, who cares? Because they don't pay your bills. They're not family. They might be family.
It's actually all your relatives winding you up.
Yeah, don't show your relatives. But at the end of the day, just like delete it. Like who cares? Like just delete and move on with life, and you will get thumbs down and people saying nasty stuff.
Yeah, Stormy and Dark is saying, how do you manage those hateful comments?
So I know who I am, right? I know like when I gave my life to the Lord, he showed me who I was, and I didn't have to what do you call it? I didn't have to get the approval of everybody, right? Like if I know who I am, then what they say at the end of the day doesn't matter, unless it's a true critique that I do need to work on, right? Like some people are like, you talk too fast. Well, 1, you can slow YouTube down. Like, thank you, YouTube. But 2, like I do try to talk slower because I know it's hard for people to hear, right? So that's a critique. But if it's like you're ugly or you're stupid or I hate your video or you did, one guy's like, I can't trust a person that didn't take a breath in 1 minute because I did like a minute video and I guess I didn't take a breath. And so I'm just like deleted, right? Like I know who I am. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of, and it's okay if people don't like me.
Yeah, Claire saying that sounds like a them problem, which I agree with, you know. And I think I'm the same, you know. And it's like when I first started doing my videos, they're not the best, let's be honest. You get better. As you said, try and get 1% better with every video. I've now done over 200 videos, so hopefully they're 200% better than my first. And that's the hope. And I hope to keep improving them as I go. And then they get better. They'll never be perfect because I'm not perfect.
Right. And who wants perfect? Like no one can, like no one's perfect, right? Like we all make mistakes. We all say stupid stuff, whatever. Like
I actually find perfect videos boring.
Yeah.
You know, if everything goes completely right, I'm like, how many takes did that take? And how many times did they do that to get that perfect result?
Yeah. I mean, I told you I used to delete the ones and start over, and it was just dumb, right? Like it was just dumb. So it's okay not to be perfect. If you can laugh at yourself, I think that's one thing that's going to help you.
A big thing.
I don't know if I told you, Danny, I don't know if I told you before, but I do love making mistakes in front of my audience. I love making mistakes because 1, we can laugh, and 2, the audience can tell me what I did wrong. And it's that interaction that I love. So it's,
There's some of the feedback, you're right, it's useful though, because you don't realize. And it's like when I first started playing with AI music, for example, and I used to put tracks on all the way through, and half of the community were like, don't do that, it is so annoying. And I was like, oh, I thought you'd enjoy it. But since then I've adapted it, so it's not. And it's like I even did a music track for the channel, and it's got like a full music video and everything, and everybody's like, don't do that, not with resin. And I was like, okay, again, it's me being creative, but why not? But again, one of the other comments I got was apparently my earlier videos, because I don't know why, but you could hear like a clicking. And I realized it's because I hadn't had a drink before I started the project. And you know, when you get a dry mouth and it's like, and that's what they could hear. And I was like, oh God. But since then, I now have a drink before every video, and I haven't had that since. So some feedback's useful.
It is. And to realize what is useful critique and what is not useful critique. I mean, that's where you have to learn the difference. I'm moaning about me threatening my cat belly because I was playing.
Oh, we're buffering. Oh, you're back.
There you go. You were gone. I was here. I got you.
Good. So yeah, Petra was saying that she had moaning about her treating her cat badly because she was pouring and it was in the background. And that person didn't realize that actually she does a voiceover. But yeah, it's different people have different views on it as well. And I think it's like, I often wear my respirator because I think it's important not to get it in my lungs. I think other people that I see don't, and that's their choice. You know, that's their choice whether they want to risk it or not. Some people don't for medical reasons and stuff like that, and that's not for me to judge. Do I always advise people to wear a respirator? Yes, because that's the most sensible route, I think. But if somebody chooses not to, that's their choice. And I think I treat people on YouTube the same as I would in real life. I think everybody gets to do what they want within reason and make their own choices in life. And you learn from them at the end of the day. And sometimes you'll make mistakes. As long as you learn from them, they're not a mistake, is the way that I look at it. And it's the same with YouTube. I think we are just an extension of normal society. The difference is we're just public all the time. So people are always going to have a view.
Yes. And when you put yourself out there, like, you're going to get critiques, and that's okay. Like, if the only way to not get critique is just to live under a rock, then go live under a rock. Right. But you're going to get critique no matter where you do or where you go.
Yeah. And I've always said, just be you. You know, the people that want to support you will find you on YouTube because there's that much of an audience. And it might take you a bit longer to grow if you're not the traditional Mr. Beast style video where it's 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds is a shift and a change and things like that. But that's okay. I think if you did a Mr. Beast style resin video, it wouldn't get many views.
Or if it did, it would just be a one. I mean, like, I don't. He spends so much. I think most residents don't want to do Mr. Beast, but if they did, have fun, right? Like, yeah. I don't know. That'd be crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, last chance for any questions. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and then we're going to close it out because I'm conscious that we've gone over time now.
Yes, we've been talking it up. Yes,
yeah, that's right. You know, and to anybody that hasn't done a live, that's a bit nervous about coming on. Has it been a scary experience?
No, I was nervous. I will say I was nervous. I mean, like, you know, the jitters, the unknown, but it's just super chill, super fun. I have loved it.
Good. I've loved having you on. It's been great. So let's do another shout out for your channel as well before we close it out. So if people want to find out more about you and your videos, where do they find you?
So at Dezy, Dezy, 1Z, jewelry, just with 1 L. So at Dezy Jewelry is my YouTube channel. DezyJewelry.com is my website. And yeah, that's where people can find me.
Brilliant. But now make sure you subscribe to both channels if you're watching this back. And I've got a bit of a question for everybody as well. Specifically to do with these lives. I'm considering at the minute upgrading the software that I use so that we can stream it on more platforms at once to get a bigger audience, to help everybody's channels grow more. Do you think that would help or not? And would you pay $50 a month if that's what it cost? So any thoughts? Anybody that's in the chat now? Anybody wants to put something in comments after? Do so. Because I'm thinking if I upgrade, I can stream this to TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at the same time. And I just think it might bring a bigger audience into the lives.
Do you have an audience on TikTok and Facebook?
More on TikTok. That seems to be growing at the minute. But lives on TikTok are going through the roof.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm thinking if we stream this at the same time on TikTok as well, we'll probably get a much bigger overall audience and help all the channels grow more.
Possibly. Yeah. TikTok, another platform that's all different.
And that's what people don't realize, you know. It's like at the minute, I already spend probably $60 a month just on the softwares I use.
Oh, wow. Like,
yeah,
you do
editing. In fact, it's probably more than that if I think about it, because I use CapCut, I use Canva. I'm now using another one for thumbnails, which we'll see if it works over the next couple of months. It adds up, and I think that's what people need to think about as well. Is that's why when creators say, if you want to support us, like and subscribe, it makes such a difference. Because I was speaking to Lisa, one of my mods, yesterday, and I said, I need to spend a day figuring out how much I've actually spent on the channel since day one,
Yeah.
and how much ad revenue I've got back, because I think it would scare me.
For sure. For sure. I'm just curious. Editing software, do you pay monthly? Do you pay can I maybe turn you to one that you just one time pay and it's my favorite software of all times?
Which one?
Wondershare, Filmora Wondershare.
You see, I tried them on a monthly subscription. That's what I started editing my channels with. And then every month, it seemed to go up every time there was a new feature. They upped the price.
They have a feature where you just buy one time only.
Okay.
One and done.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes.
But at the minute, I mean, that's not, to be fair, CapCut, the one I use, I think that's only like $12 a month. So that's not a lot. That's one of the cheapest things, which, and I think it's a really easy platform to use. So I think that's, for me, that isn't the worrying one. It's everything when you just add it together. Yeah. So if you've got that, and then you've got Canva, which I think is £13 a month, if memory serves correct. And now I've had to pay for YouTube Premium because I want to download these lives, and everybody will see why on the 1st of July. Bit of a hint there. So make sure you stay subscribed. Something exciting. But yeah, and it's just when you add everything together, then you add your resin. I get through at least 2 gallons a month of resin because of the big pieces I do. I think that's why it's important that the community supports artists by actually just doing that one thing, which is subscribing, and that's free, you know?
Yep. Totally.
And I think that's the thing that shocked me. When I first got monetized, I thought, oh, this is going to be great. And then I was like, maybe not.
True.
But it's still fun, you know? And I think if you get started on a YouTube journey and you want to do it for the right reasons, and for me, it's not about the money, it's about teaching, you know, and people learning. And eventually, do I hope that I can make it my full-time income? Yes. But know that that's probably 4 or 5 years off when you first start.
Yeah. Yes.
Unless you're very lucky and all your videos blow up, which could happen.
It is always the dream. I kept seeing Lula on your, is that Lula? Is that the right name?
Lula, yeah.
So I thought it was a UK word because they use it so much. I was like, okay, what does Lula mean in the UK? Because
that is Lula, so it's Nerd Goblin Art.
Gotcha. Hi, Lula. So, I thought your name was a UK slang word.
And she's an example of somebody who started her channel, I think, around about 6 months ago. I think she started taking it seriously. And correct me if I'm wrong, Lula. And when she came on this live, I think she had about 200 subscribers. And she's blown up. She's had over 200K views now, which is amazing. And I think she's just gone over 2.6 thousand subs. So it just shows you people that are worried that it's too late to do it. It's not. And there's a prime example of somebody that's blowing up right now. And I think it's great. And it's like, I genuinely think the resin community, we all grow together. And the more we support each other and help each other, the faster we all grow. And that's what's really exciting.
True.
So there we go. But no, unless you've got any more questions, I will close us out.
Thank you, Andy, for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
No, thank you. It's been wonderful having you on as a guest. And I'll be sending you an invite in 12 months' time as well to see where you are then.
Okay.
What have you got any goals in mind where you want to be in a year's time?
I do have goals. My sister recently brought it up, and I talked to a friend about it. I've been talking to my husband about it. About doing classes. So separate from YouTube, right? Having a beginner's class for each one of my things, beaded, epoxy, UV, and having it so everything you need is in those 10 classes. Yeah. I've been avoiding it for the longest time, and then it's just been coming up more and more. And so I think I'm going to give into that train. Because when you have all those videos, like you have hundreds of videos, I have hundreds of videos. It's hard to find when you're beginning, what you need and what's the next video to do and stuff. And this way it's all in one package. And my sister was meeting another pastor about something else, and And he goes, oh yeah, my wife is a money maker. And she's like, oh, what is she doing? He goes, YouTube. And my sister ears perk up because I knew you. And she goes, so she meets with the wife. She's like, well, how do you make it? And she goes, classes. Like my YouTube just, and she has like amazing views. Like I went to her channel, I was like, oh my gosh, she's killing it with quilts, right? But she just recorded a course and it's making her the money and stuff. And so I don't, there's so many different ways to go when you do YouTube, because there's just so many, like when you're creative and you love videos and whatever. And so I think I'm going to try it. I haven't told my audience yet, so I think I'm going to try classes.
It'd be a nice surprise for them. Jean's saying she wants your shop info again as well before we close it out.
Oh, Dezy Jewelry with 1 Z and 1 L. Dezy, Dezy, jewelry with 1 L.com. That's it.
Brilliant. But no, it's been great having you on. And hopefully we'll have you on again in a year's time and see where you are and see if you've reached those goals. But to anybody watching this back as well, make sure you subscribe to both channels. If you can, it's a great way for us all to support each other and grow. Thank you, everybody in chat, for being here. You've been amazing as always. Easy. And and obviously you've been amazing as well, Dezy. So thank you very much. And we've got Butch from Butch's Resin Creations on next week, same time, same place, Tuesday, 8 p.m. UK time. So I'll see you all then. And then I think the week after that, it could be the 2 Petras as well. So we've got 2 different Petras on the same show. So it should be fun. So it'll be good. But no, see you all soon.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you very much.